Well, hey, I wanted to tell you about something that might be a surprise to you. I got something new. Let me show you. Can you see that? Can you see anything in my ear? Look at this. I have one in the other ear too. I got hearing aids. And no, I'm not deaf. And I was not aware that I had trouble hearing, except I noticed that when I was in crowds, or let's say a crowded restaurant, and trying to have a conversation with somebody, I had trouble understanding what the other person was saying. In fact, I started avoiding situations like that because, you can only fill in so much from context and watching a person's lips. It was very frustrating for me. Also, if your hearing is not up where it ought to be, your brain has to work much harder to kind of fill in the gaps. And instead of using its energy to remember what's being said, it's trying to figure out what is being said. I have a little booklet that has some great information. Let me read you a few facts that you might not have known. So it says, untreated hearing loss makes it difficult to follow conversations and is often very exhausting. I experienced that. For a while, I thought, am I getting dementia or something? Because I hear people talking, like if I was in a crowded restaurant, but I'm not understanding everything they say. Something happening to my brain that's not working? Well, my brain was being overtaxed with trying to fill in the gaps of what they were saying because my hearing was not up to par. Untreated hearing loss often leads to reduced contact with family, friends, and colleagues, which can turn into feelings of isolation and depression. Do you maybe have a relative or a friend who's started becoming kind of standoffish, especially at group gatherings? Maybe they're not showing up that much anymore. Could be that it's a hearing problem. Untreated hearing loss makes it difficult to stay connected to communication and entertainment devices like TV and phones. Do you maybe watch TV with someone and they're always having to turn it up? When you get older, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and go to an audiologist. Usually at ear, nose, and throat doctor offices, they have audiologists. Usually these people, at least the one I go to, has a PhD. She is a doctor of audiology. And you can get your hearing tested. And my hearing for years tested out fine. And then as I've been getting older, I'm 69 now, I started having age-related high-frequency hearing loss. And I thought that meant I couldn't hear high sounds, like maybe a high squeaky sort of sound versus a low bass kind of sound. And actually, that's not the case. What it is that the sounds that make up words have different frequencies. For example, the audiologist gave me this sentence. She said, "Please wash my dog." She said, if you have a high frequency hearing loss, you may not be able to distinguish between "please wash my dog" and "please watch my dog." Wash, watch. So the sh and the ch are high frequency sounds, and when you have a high frequency hearing loss, you lose the ability to distinguish between some of these sounds. As you can see, like My hearing aids, I've got really short hair, but you can't even tell they're there. They make them in all different colors. Yes, they're expensive. And no, Medicare does not pay for them. This year, my income tax refund is paying for them. But some people's insurance does have a, you know, thing where they'll contribute towards them. Now, usually Medicare and other insurance does pay for the hearing testing. So that's good. Here's something else a little booklet I have says. Getting through the day with a hearing loss can be hard work. Everyday situations require more effort in order to follow and understand what is being said. When you have a hearing loss, your ears lose their ability to pick up certain sounds. Your brain has to work much harder to fill in the gaps to guess what is being said. Both of these tasks require more mental resources and can leave you feeling exhausted. And it leaves you with fewer resources to put towards things like remembering what was being said. And in fact, I was finding that my daughter would sometimes say to me, "Mom, we talked about this and we said that we would do it at this time on this day. Don't you remember?" And I knew she wasn't crazy, and we knew I wasn't crazy. What we realized is I probably, in trying to understand what she was saying, because I wasn't picking up every sound, I didn't have the brain capability to remember the details, because she's got little children and babies and the TV's going, and these days children's toys make all kinds of noises with the digital stuff and all, and we both have phones, and anyway, it's a noisy world. There's a lot that comes in. We really need our ears. But you know what? Since I visited her, since I've had the hearing aids, I have not had to say, "What'd you say?" When she'd be talking previously, there were things that she said that I knew. I didn't catch the whole sentence, but I just let it go. Sometimes, though, I'd say to myself, "Wait, that sounded like it might be something important." And I'd say, "Wait, what did you say?" And she'd repeat it. Well, so far I haven't had to do that now. So I'm happy with the hearing aids. I do not feel them in my ears. The little part I showed you, that's the speaker and the processor. So it's actually a computer chip in there that's always listening and processing, the sounds that are coming in and helping to amp up the ones that I have trouble hearing. And I don't know, like when I took the dog on a walk yesterday, the first time I wore them in the morning with the dog, it was a much noisier walk because I heard birds that I have not heard before. I heard a couple people walking up behind me, and normally those sounds are much dulled, and I, don't really pick up on them. But yesterday, somebody's walking behind me. I could hear that. Hearing aids, yeah, they're expensive, but they might represent, for actually many people, an increase in the quality of life that you cannot put a monetary value to. If you have a hearing loss, you may not know it. Because if you're not hearing something, you don't know that you're not hearing it. Unless you have situations where maybe the people around you keep saying, reminding you of things. You seem to be getting very forgetful. Or like my situation, you're in a crowd and you're having trouble understanding what people are saying. Or maybe even traffic sounds are not as, they don't stand out as much to you as maybe they should. I don't know, maybe you're not hearing as many birds singing as you used to. Um, the thing is, if you have a hearing loss, you probably do not appreciate the extent to which that can affect your life. So it's a good thing to go get a hearing test. I would say, if you're over 50 or over 60, for sure, I'd recommend going to do it. Your insurance will likely pay for it. And you may find out that, oh my goodness, just like me, I didn't know that I had a high frequency hearing loss. I mean, it's not a complete loss, it's just less than it should be. But my hearing aids are making up for it. Like right now, I'm hearing birds outside that normally don't sound anywhere near as loud. Like I'm much more aware of them, and I'm so glad because I love birds. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I mean, I don't know that much, but I do know that there are many people who feel like there's a stigma attached to maybe having to have an assistive device in any area of their life. And maybe I can help you get over that, because in this day and age, with the American Disabilities Act and stuff like that, I mean, gee whiz. When I was growing up, if you had a disability, usually you were kept at home and, other people weren't allowed to really see you or know about it. These days, it's all out there, and it's fine because we are all the same inside. And we all need love and acceptance, and we all need the ability to interact and communicate with other people. So having a hearing aid is something that really helps with that. Okay, well, I hope that this has been of some value to you, or maybe it will help with a loved one or a friend.